they like to talk about. And I welcome into the Dome today Jim Drevis, who's the Director of Sales and Workforce Development, Custom Training Solutions at Northwest State. Boy, that's a long title, Jim. You know, does that do they pay you by the word in the title?
No, not quite.
Can we work on that for you? If you want to make me your agent, okay, I'll go over and talk to these folks, and I guarantee you, okay, your paycheck will go up proportionate to the length of your title, or your title will shrink.
I think my title will shrink.
And also, Tori Wolf, who's the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Sales Account Manager. And Tori, I offer you the same incentive here if you'd like to join my my new crew here. How's that?
That sounds perfect.
And again, I would guarantee you that what's going to happen now is you're going to have a one-word title, all right, and a reduction probably in pay. Guys, it's good to have you with us here. We always talk education on a Tuesday morning, and I think what you guys are doing right now is probably the most exciting educational aspect that we have going on at this point in time. Jim, let's tell the folks just a little bit of what you guys are involved with over at Northwest.
Yeah, we're the Workforce Development Division of Northwest State Community College, and Tori and I go to our clients, and when I say clients, it's businesses in the 5-county area, and it could be manufacturing, healthcare, insurance industry. We talk to them about what their training needs are, and we go to most of the accounts, and we aren't too sure where they're going to go. Is it a college class they want? Is it training on site to a few employees? Is it an apprentice program? So we have a lot of options we sell at the college, and we can talk to the clients to fit their needs.
And you know, this is something that I think an awful lot of people think is something that's new, Tori, but this type of an idea and the program that you're running right now has been around for a couple of years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Actually, federally, it's been around for over 25 years, the MEP has. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to get the name out here in Northwest Ohio so more manufacturers understand that we do have services that we can provide to them through the MEP.
Okay. Now, who's the MEP?
MEP is the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Okay. It's a private-public partnership that provides assistance and training to help our manufacturers grow, increase their profits, increase productivity, reduce their costs. Mm-hmm. So we try to help them in any challenges that they may be having.
Okay, and those dollars, when did they get? You said 25 years ago they got started. Where was the brainchild of this whole thing, and where do they come right now? Do you have any feel for who started this whole thing? And then where do our money? Is our money coming out of our tax dollars? Is that where that comes from? Or
it does come from the federal funds. Mm-hmm. We have state funds as well. Okay, but it is a private and public funded program both. So there is a match involved.
Okay, so if I want you to come out and I own a business here in this area, and you provide the services, there will be funds coming out of my pocket to help make this happen as well. Am I correct with that, or am I not reading that quite right?
Sometimes there are. Sometimes we have different services that we can provide at no charge to the manufacturers, but we do have some that meet 50-50 match. Okay. Right now we have an energy program going on, plus if you're looking to get into additive manufacturing, we can help you get a sample part printed to see if that's the way your company's looking to go.
Okay, all right. So, Jim, take us back to the beginning. I sit here, I'm a manufacturer, I'm doing pretty well, okay, but I know there's things that I can do better, all right? I've got some concerns, I've got some curiosities. I pick up the phone, I call Jim Drevis, and Jim Drevis comes out along with Tori, and where do we start?
Yeah, you know, we're problem solvers, and I want to say the MEP has moved us into a consulting phase. We're a community college. We've always delivered training services, but now with the MEP, there's so much consulting services available. We have a much broader product range we can help clients with. So if we walk to a client and they might have new employees that need technical training, computer training, Lean Six Sigma, or human resource. So I think over the years, Northwest Technical College, our strength was the technical classes. When I say technical, we call them manufacturing, which I believe is about 65% of the businesses in our area. And each plant has automation equipment. So we train on hydraulics, pneumatics, CNC training, PLCs, VFDs, drives. And so on a technical standpoint, we're very good with the hands-on type of application or skilled trades. Then we moved into human resource training, you know, frontline supervision, how to manage people, communications, getting your point across. And we have new employees moving into those positions right now, so we have a lot of need for human resource training. Another one is efficiency, which is Lean Six Sigma. That's basically reducing cost internally, reducing waste, and looking at your errors and error proofing. And then another one would always be computer needs. Computers are used in every aspect of the job, whether you're on the plant floor or office environment. Another big point for us is computer training. So those topics, we work with clients, listen to what their needs are. Then we kind of go, well, do you want to come to the college and take a 16-week class for 3 credit hours? Do you want an apprentice program or certificate or a 2-year degree? Then we always have building blocks. Our certificates can build into 2-year degrees, and you go on to a 4-year school to get your bachelor's degree and master's. Everything's built together in today's educational network.
You know, you keep hearing nowadays that we have to train our young folks nowadays, or even old guys like me. You can't retrain me, though. I mean, it's pretty much anybody that knows me knows I'm in one solid rut, and it goes just that way to that way. Okay, there's no change in me at all. But there is a definite difference today than Tori from where I was. I mean, I'm an old guy. I brag a lot about being at Ohio University in 1972 to 76. Okay, back when they were inventing the wheel. Okay, back when they were, there were a number of things that were put together back then. Unfortunately, I missed most of them. But at the same time, the training from there to now is entirely different, isn't it, huh?
It is absolutely different. It's much more technical, hands-on. Mm-hmm. You're not sitting in a lecture classroom. We try to give 10% lecture, between 80 and 90% hands-on, so that you really do get the feel for what you're learning.
Sure. I didn't sit in a lecture classroom back then either.
Well, you were probably supposed to.
Darn, there you go. You keep finding these things out. Why did it take 40 years for me to figure out where I went wrong back then, huh? I'm just not understanding this thing. You know, the one thing that you do hear an awful lot of, though, nowadays, Jim, is there are a number of jobs out here. Okay, we're not in an area or an economy that is lacking, the abilities to find a job. We're really lacking the folks who know how to do them at this point in time, aren't we?
Yes, and with the increase in jobs, I'll say 8 years ago, when we have a job fair at Northwest State, we had 25 tables of people looking for employees. Now I think the last one we did went out to 120 clients looking for employees. And when we started, it was always skilled labor, the technicians and apprentice training and maintenance technicians. Then engineers came, but now it's laborers. And a laborer today just doesn't feed a machine parts. There's always computers, input, things they have to do, set up aspects of machines. So I want to say common labor is hard to find these days. That's been automated, replaced by robots. So a lot of the training we need is all across the board. And we really have to work hard with the schools to educate the kids about the opportunities locally at the manufacturing account. So Tori and I reach out quite a bit to the high schools with the Williams County Economic Development Group. Mm-hmm. We work with Matt Davis and Megan Puhler there to try to educate the high schools on all the career available in Williams County with all these kids. So we work really hard at that aspect.
Well, I'll tell you, we are talking jobs, potential jobs, and training for those jobs with two of Northwest State's finest, Jim Drevis and Tori Wolf. We need to step away and pay some bills. That is the one thing that is constant for everybody. They've got to make money and they've got to pay their bills, and we have to do that as well. It's 20 minutes after 9 here at Q96.5 FM.
No one understands the value of
First.
And we're back here on the Q 96.5 FM, and I have with me Jim Drevis and Tori Wolf, and we're talking about some of the training that goes in for our workforce nowadays around Northwest Ohio, and I think it is a little different, and it has been changing and evolving over the last several years. And Jim, I think that's a relatively decent description, would you not say? Over the course of 10 years or so, we've evolved?
Yes, our training is always evolving because we handle automation equipment. And when facilities in the area get new automation equipment to make their products faster with better quality, we have to keep up with them. So we call on the accounts to understand what kind of hardware they have on the floor. And then we work getting that hardware in our schools, so we train their student or their employees on the relevant topics they need.
Yeah.
And that's always changing. Mechanical components, we're teaching the same class we taught for the last 20 years because mechanical components are all the same. Belts, pulleys, shivs, alignment of shafts and motors. But the automation side, we really have to keep an eye on our clients and see what they're using.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You know, I worry all the time, Tori, that we're going to replace all of us human beings, okay, with machines one of these days, you know? And as soon as they can figure out how to do my job, okay, which is not real hard, all right, and they more than likely can find a machine already that can do that, all right, I'm going to be out on the street. But I think that's a feeling that a number of people have, but I don't think that's really correct, is it?
No, that's not actually a fair statement. Yes, automation is taking over certain parts of the process in manufacturing, but you also have new jobs coming up that you need to work on those parts. You need to work on those new automations, those robots. So the line of work is changing, but you still need us human beings to take care of the manufacturing process from another aspect. So it's like they say, we don't know what to train for in 10 years because we don't know what the jobs are going to be.
Sure, and they have, boy, if they change as much in the next 10 years as they have in the last 10 years, you know, really, where do you put the target at this point in time? The neat thing, we talk to folks every Tuesday from the educational side, all the way from the high schools up to the colleges, okay, with you guys, the JVS, and also, you know, Defiance College. And the neat thing I think I'm seeing right now, Jim, is the high school focus. You know, we went away 20 years ago from this idea that we need to have industrial arts in a school system. We need to have all of those different programs at that point in time. You know, one of the few studies that I actually ever passed was cooking. You know, I could go in and cook you some cupcakes
Yes.
and those things like that because obviously I don't miss many meals. Okay, so that became important to me. Now the rest of the whole thing just fell off the map, but it does seem like high school education and below, the elementary schools and everything, we're refocusing those guys now.
Yeah, you know, the point of the K through 12 education, prepare the kids for a college degree, and the schools are doing a great job in the area preparing these kids for higher education. There's a group of kids that don't going to choose that path, and we call that the undecideds, the kids that are not going to military, 2-year, or 4-year. And there's a pretty big group of those floating around that just have not made a career decision yet either. And just like all of us, I'm not too sure about my career decision, what I'm going to be when I grow up someday. But I want to say these kids could use some maybe some more skill to get out in the manufacturing environment and see what's available in Williams County, and see what's happening behind all these closed doors and the what does Bard do? What does Titan Tire do? And all the other accounts in the area, or an insurance. What does an insurance person do? Insurance business. So it's kind of like a career development. I know the schools are working hard on that aspect too. That's where we come into play because we're trying to get down to the junior high and high school to get the kids understanding. There's just a variety of things to do. We work very well with 4 County as well. You know, we need to have a full 4 County school to get those kids ready to enter the workforce too.
You know, that would be something that almost seems contradictory to 4 counties' success and well-being over the course of the next several years, and I think that has been something that's inhibited us before. Oh gosh, if I let these guys do that, then what am I going to do anymore? You know, but it seems like you guys work so well together now.
Yeah, I think we have a great relationship. I think we need to make that bond even stronger, and that's kind of why we started the Advanced Manufacturing Consortium at Northwest State. We see the K through 12s, we see political bodies, and I'll say K through 12 in education, K through 12, the 4 County, Defiance College, Northwest State Community College. We see the political bodies, all the Economic Workforce, Regional Growth Partnership, the MEP, and then we see our business clients. We need to get all of us 3 on the same page and working together to solve the workforce problem.
Yeah, and it is a problem right now. Every company, as you said, are looking for people right at this point in time. And I don't see that problem going away anytime in the near future. Really.
Yeah, it's when we started the manufacturing consortium too, and we have a board, we meet, and their number one problem was workforce, their number two problem was workforce, and number three was workforce. so they really gave us the direction what we had to work on, and that's what we've been really focusing on for the last year and a half, and just getting the word out to all these kids. And like I said, it's just not factory floor. Right. It's management, it's engineering, it's business for these kids to have a career in insurance or other business. Insurance industry, I think it's Ohio that's forecasting a shortage of 26,000 insurance industry employees within the next 5 to 7 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
All us old guys like me are about to retire one of these days. I don't know that I'm ever going to retire, though. You don't have to worry about replacing my job. How's that? I'm going to be here until one of these days the mic goes up and they just hear me snoring on the other side. How's that? And then they have to take me out. Tori, we keep talking about this Advanced Manufacturing Consortium, but I don't know that, did I throw this the wrong direction? I look over and, but tell me just a little bit about what is the AMC. That used to be a that was a car when I was a kid, you know what I mean? There was an AMC, there was I can't even remember what the names of them were anymore, but they were all vehicles at that time, but that's not the case anymore.
That's not the case anymore. So AMC stands for Advanced Manufacturing Consortium, and it was an idea that we just wanted to make sure, like Jim said, we had a place for the educators, the political bodies, the community colleges, and the four-year colleges, and then 4-county, all had a place to come together to voice their opinions, tell us their concerns, let us help take that to the next level to see what we could do to solve those challenges that they were all having, which, as we stated, workforce was our number one issue. So we really just implemented the AMC to perform a container for everyone to come and to work together, collaborate, try to come up with some solutions to the problems that we're all having.
Do you guys get together on a regular basis then? Are there like quarterly meetings, or how does that work? Jim?
Yes, we get together. We have a steering board to guide us on what the most of the issues are, the issues of most importance. We have quarterly meetings, and we have a lot of our open enrollment classes. As we talk to the clients, it just generates a host of other things. We bring in speakers on certain topics. We've done short-term training in our building on safety and OSHA topics. Yeah. Lean Six Sigma. We do a lot of series on topics of interest to everybody, and that's guided by our clients' input.
You know, you've said Lean Six Sigma, I believe, a couple of times. Okay, maybe I don't have that. I know Sigma's come out a couple of times. Yeah. Explain that to me. What are we talking about?
Lean is very simple. It's a set of tools, and it came out of, I believe, Toyota Production System years ago. It's just reducing waste. Okay. It's having all your equipment right nearby you, just like this radio station. You want everything within arm's reach that you might need while you're on the air.
Sure.
Sure. And Lean did start in manufacturing, but it's Lean healthcare, Lean businesses. We use Lean systems at the college to look at our processes, how we handle students. With the enrollment of College Credit Plus students, that's the high school students taking classes. I think when I started there, it was around 200 students, and right now we're around 600 to 800. Wow. So we're handling that many more students with the same amount of people. So we have to have our processes in place to handle them as efficiently as possible. Mm-hmm. We're not, and it's not adding more people, but it's looking at every process you do.
Yeah. And you know, we always used to, that was just always waste. We call that, you know, there's a lot of waste in this business that we're doing right now. Clean up the waste, Jim. Clean up the waste, you know.
And you're absolutely right. It's easily said. The concepts are not difficult, but getting every division, every person working together to understand what the other divisions do when they hand off paper. In our case, it's handing off paperwork to the next group to process a student. Mm-hmm. In a factory, it's processing products and equipment, how to most efficiently do that and the best quality.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Tori, not to let you off the hook right now, okay? If we're going to make the state and the feds happy, okay, the MEP, what would make them happy? What's their goal? What do we need to do at this point in time?
Their goal is really just to have manufacturing be profitable and continue to have growth. Mm-hmm. Manufacturing is such a huge industry in Ohio that we actually have 5 different MEP affiliates in the state of Ohio to make sure that we're handling all of manufacturing to our best ability. So they want to make sure that we're, you know, increasing their sustainability, increasing their profits, reducing their waste through lean principles is one way we could do that. Making sure that they have the capability to access the latest technology. So we deal a lot with small and mid-sized manufacturers because they don't always have the same resources that the larger manufacturers do.
Sure.
So we try to help make sure we get them connected throughout through to other resources so that they do get to take advantage of different programs that the bigger companies have on site.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's critical because those are, and it used to be, and maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me, but the number one employer of people in this United States at one time were small businesses, not large manufacturers. We always think about the Fords and the GMs and the Spangler Candies and the Salvador manufacturers and all these guys who have all these numbers. But am I still correct? Does the small business still employ more people? Do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
leading in the United States. And the MEP, what is it? Do they have a head count as far as the small? Our strength is the small accounts equal how many employees and below?
Small accounts, so a small manufacturer would be considered to have 25 or less employees.
Sure.
And a mid-size, they consider anywhere from 26 to 800. So if a manufacturer is employing over 800, that's a large. And it's not that the MEP won't help those large manufacturers. It's just we want to really put our niche with the small to the mid-size because we are wanting to provide those resources for them to attain growth just like the other companies that are larger can do.
Yeah, because it's hard to be small and be able to take advantage of some of those.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt, isn't it?
Yeah, so the large companies are able to get into additive manufacturing. They can afford the different printers. They can afford to do the research if their company would benefit. Well, an employer who only has 10, 15 employees, they're not able to take a look at the ROI or get access to 3D printers. And so that's somewhere where we come in and we have a program where we can help them decide if 3D printing or additive manufacturing is something that they should take a look at in the long run.
All right, you said additive manufacturing now to me about 14 times. It takes me that long for it to actually register and then go, what in the world is that? What's additive manufacturing?
Additive manufacturing is just another term for 3D printing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 3D printers, now hold on, this is just mind-boggling to me at this point in time, okay? 3D can actually take almost anything that we're manufacturing right now and print them. Now, there used to be only one good reason to have a printer, and that was to get me in trouble at Christmas time.
That's right.
And we all know why that is, okay? So we won't go there. But what does these 3D printers, talk to me about them, Jim?
Yeah, we have a number of those at the college, and they're smaller units, but they can be very large. We just seen that the U.S. 3D printed a small submodel they're testing, a submarine. And what it does, it takes a type of material, and with heat and pressure, it takes this material, and through the 3D drawings, they actually draw a drawing from a computer screen into the actual physical object. If you want to think about it, it could be something as simple as nuts and bolts for your lawnmower.
Sure.
You're going to go to your farm implement dealer, and he might not have the product in stock. He could print it for you, in theory, in the short future. That's coming.
Wow.
And it's just really interesting to watch. And then the materials they use, there's a great variety of plastics. We've heard seaweed being used for like a fiber type of material. There's actually steel being used that they can print objects out of like a powdered steel and make a steel object. So it's plastic, steel, fiber, and a great variety of products they can make.
Now, I think everybody envisions one of these days that we'll basically be making cars in our garage with a 3D printer and not having to go down to Brian Ford and buying one of those things. I mean, will it go that far, do you think?
Yeah, we've seen them print 3D cars already.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not too sure how that goes. That's very technical. That's above my education too. But they're getting such technical, detailed items 3D printed now, and as that technology just goes and goes, that's where we have resources with MEP through the state and nationally. We have a number of 3D. What I call them research centers that we work with. So it's not just standard equipment, but it's the cutting edge type of 3D printing we have access to.
I have a hard time just changing the toner in the printer.
That's right.
All right. Now, how do I change all these materials now in this printer? That's just, that's unbelievable.
And like anything else, the kids today take a rap for maybe their work ethic, how they are. One thing they certainly are very intelligent. So we have 3D printers, and these kids are making all sorts of things. They figure out how to get the drawings, how to get it into the system to print. We made the fidget spinners for our STEM camp we had this summer.
Okay.
So we had a couple high school kids set up, find the file, print it out, and we push the bearings into the fidget spinners in our shop for the kids that attend STEM camp. So it's just really interesting to watch how, I want to call it easy, but these kids can actually take products and make them on a 3D printer right in our building.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Well, my wife and I always say that if we have any technical problems, we call our grandkids.
That's right.
And we get them on the phone and we say, hey, how do you need to come over and help us do this or help us do that, because that is really where they're heading. And these kids are unbelievable. Their minds and their brains are just wired differently nowadays, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
It's just totally it's tremendous. You guys mentioned STEM a little bit too, and that is a term I think that most people understand nowadays. But for those who have not heard the STEM defined, Tori, give us a little feel for that.
STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and medical. Excuse me, not medical, mathematics. So we had a STEM camp out at the college. We had 3 this year, 2 in July, 1 at the end of June, and we invite 5th through 8th grade students from the 5 area county. So they get to come into the building and do all kinds of STEM activities. And we did things such as the 3D printing. We did welding, so the kids actually got to weld desktop organizers, and their name was welded into a piece of the steel as well. So that was one of their favorite activities. They learned about Lego robots, the EV3 Lego robots, and the FIRST robotics competition. We do have a FIRST robotics team at the college that's for 9th through 12th graders. So they were able to learn more about that as they get older. Maybe they could join that team at Northwest State. So we did a lot of activities. Entrepreneurship was another one. Trying to think here. We also took a tour of Souter Funeral Products, which was really great. They opened their doors to us and the kids, and we toured that plant, watched them make a casket from beginning to end. They talked about how they were entrepreneurs and all the research that they had to do to decide if they wanted to get into the funeral products market. So the day before, they had learned all about entrepreneurship. So then we got to Souter, and they learned a lot of the same terms and actually got a real-life situation to put with what they learned the day before. So that was a really great time that they had.
The one STEM camp we had was with the National Association of Manufacturers, I believe, who helped sponsor it, and they really wanted us to teach our kids about entrepreneurship and new ideas. Nothing fit better than that with Sauter being a furniture maker that somehow 8 years ago got involved with funeral products. And it was a very interesting tour, and they did a great job telling the kids how they started it, and we watched them manufacture caskets, their marketing, how they sell them, and it was just a great finishing day for the STEM camp.
I think that was one of the things that was missing in our day. Old guys like me always like to go back in the day. It was so much better. But you would come out of a college or a high school with very little training, very little experience, very little background. You walked out of the door and you went into this big old world, and things all of a sudden that you thought were going to be easy were much more complex than what you learned about in the classroom. And this is such a better way of preparing our kids for the world, Jim, any comments?
Yeah,
you're shaking your head there. Would you agree?
Yes, and it's, high schools have a different goal with the kids these days. Like I said, the home ec and shop class aren't in there anymore, but they're so, I want to say, technically trained on the physics, the math, and those type of classes. Then there's a group of students that needs the hands-on type of training. That's where we kind of come in. So it's I think it's just different pathways for these kids to take. But as I said before, there's one thing true about today's students. They're all smart kids. A lot of them haven't found their way yet, but they're very intelligent, very tech savvy on what's happening in the world.
No doubt about that. Jim Drevis and Tori Wolf are guests here today as we talk education in the Q. We need to pay some more bills, guys, and we'll wrap up this hour when we come back. B-Rock Sports Week. here as we speak. And I was told, Tori, that it's about to be you. It's going to be the Tori Wolf Show. Basically,
Oh,
for
gracious.
the next 15 minutes. How's that?
That's
things up.
sure. Let's give
Is
it a
that
try.
okay? This could be a whole new career opportunity for you.
Just be patient with
And
me.
you could be like my sidekick here. How's that? Huh?
Well, I'm Jim's sidekick now, so he'd have to give me up. But
Well, then I don't think I'm going to get lucky enough to be able to make that happen, because it doesn't seem to me like Jim's going to give you up anytime soon. So much for that. But you never can tell. You'll walk out of here thinking, man, I should have been in the radio. That's all I'm after right now. You have a manufacturing day coming up on the October the 13th. Could you tell the folks a little bit about that?
yes, absolutely. October is actually Manufacturing Month, and Manufacturing Day is the first Friday of October. Now, we made our event the second Friday on the 13th just due to the school's availability. So what we do for Manufacturing Day is we bring in all the manufacturers in the 5-county area and have them set up in our atrium a display that allows the students that we then invite in, also from the 5-county area. We ask for juniors and seniors that are going to be entering the workforce soon. And they are so clean, so well lit. You know, it's not your grandpa's factory anymore. They're very automated. Even some of them are climate controlled now just because of the products that they make. They have to make sure that you're not working in a 120-degree environment. And the companies want to make it an environment that appeals to the younger generations as well. You mentioned earlier that so many of the older workers are getting ready to retire, and that's creating another problem with the workforce shortage. So the kids get to come in, the students get to come in, and they get to explore different opportunities in the manufacturing world.
Yeah, and it has changed dramatically. In fact, if we do go back those 40 years when I was starting to go to OU, my grandfather brought me into Hobart Brothers, which was they made welders at the time, okay? And his whole goal was to make sure I never ended up in a factory, okay? That was what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to move on and take that next step out. Not that he didn't love the job, because he did. He loved being the foreman in the armature department at Hobart Brothers in Troy, Ohio, okay? So he put me on these great big monstrous quarter-inch steel shell plates, okay, they called them, and we punched holes in them all day long in 100-degree heat all summer long and overtime and everything else. And then once the dumb guy who was punching the holes in them got to realize the orders and how the orders were placed, I'm punching holes in metal that didn't need it for 6 or 8 months, okay? I mean, but he just kept, firing tough job after tough job after tough job to get me to go the other direction. That same job nowadays is probably nowhere near what it was back in the day. And I think that's something we do need to get out to these folks that are thinking about a career, because the factories nowadays are totally changed. As you said, some of them climate controlled nowadays. You're working in AC.
Right. And you mentioned the large steel pieces, and earlier we talked about, people not needing to do the jobs. We're going to replace it all with automation.
Sure.
But one of the things we do is we replaced automation, so we're not lifting those heavy pieces anymore.
Yeah.
They still might need someone to drill those holes, but they've got a robot who's actually picking them up and moving them around now. So that's a big change.
Man, where in the world was that robot in 1974 is all I want to know. You know what I mean? I needed that robot really desperately in the summers of 73, 74, 75, and 76. That would have been a big help on my back. Oh well, thank you, Grandpa. I always tell him that every time because he did send me on a whole different path. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's talk a little bit about the website, because you guys have a website that people can go up and take a look at, and that is where I think most of us get our information from nowadays. Lori, you're back on it again. See, you said you lost the M. I lost your name there for a minute.
That's okay. Yes, we do. You could go to trainwithcts.com. or northweststate.edu to find out any information. The college is currently doing fall registrations right now. Fall classes start August 23rd. So if you're looking at taking any college credit classes, you want to make sure you get in, get yourself registered. And if you're a company looking for any customized training or MEP solutions, you can get a hold of Jim or I. Our contact information is on that Train with CTS website.
Okay. And I would think that if there's a manufacturer listening right now, and I know we are listened to in numerous factories around this area, and there's a thought in their mind, well, maybe we don't qualify, maybe that's something that doesn't really pertain to us. I would say pick up the phone and call and ask. Is that a good recommendation?
Yeah, very much so, because we have services from the state through Tori's MEP assignment that sometimes they're chargeable, sometimes they're free. I mean, the state wants to make sure our manufacturer is strong. The other thing I want to make sure people understand is I don't need a class of 10 or 12 people all the time. We do a lot of one teacher on 2 or 3 students at a time because we do specialized training. We do one teacher and one student. You want to call it tutoring, whatever it is. We don't need a full classroom for what we do with workforce development.
So the idea is, if you think there's a way that maybe your company fits into something that we've been talking about this morning, don't be shy, okay? Tori's kind of shy over there, but she's not shy anymore, is she? I think we've brought her out of her shell.
That's right. You've done a good job today. Yeah.
Just pick up the phone and call over there and find out, because there are so many things. And we are so fortunate to have you guys over in Archbold, in our area, because without that kind of training, without that kind of direction, we would not be ready for the next generation, and the generation after that, and the generation after that. When, guys, last question for you here before we wrap this thing up, when are we going to have flying cars? I mean, the Jetsons, back when I was a kid, all predicted that by now I would be basically flying around in my hovercraft type car, and I would have a robot there at the house to clean and cook and all those things. And Jim, we've fallen a bit short.
Yeah, it's just funny to watch technology. It's just a great time to be alive and see the possibility of flying cars and drones and what they can do with that. And it's just a neat time to watch technology, and you watch it, through the government, through certain agencies, and it gets down in manufacturing or everyday use. And you kind of take it for granted when if I don't know where the radio station's at this morning, I type it on my phone and I find where you're at.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? It really is, because my son and his wife just went over to France, okay, and they are so accustomed to having their phones and being able to map quest something, okay, or whatever. So they took off on a bike ride that was supposed to be 20 miles, and they gave them a big old paper map, okay, and they said, here's where you're going, and you got to get to here at this point in time to be able to meet the boat to bring you back, okay. Well, the map is strange to them, okay,
yes, yeah.
All right. And by the time they got there either was no dock, or there was no boat, or there was nothing there, and what was supposed to be a 20-mile bike ride turned into 50-plus miles, okay, trying to get there. And what they realized once they got back to, if they'd have gone up about 2 more miles, they could have gone over a bridge and been right back where they wanted to go, but instead they circled all the way back around. So just to show you how dependent we are nowadays, and this is a kid who's a doctor, and his wife who's similar, and very intelligent people, but here's an old paper map, and it's like, holy smokes, what do I have here?
That's
and they
right.
laughed about that last week when we chatted about that whole process. Where are we going, guys, in the future? Okay, from your perspective, what's on the horizon, Jim?
We convert a lot of our classes to more hybrid classes in the industrial skilled trades where I'm at. And what we want to do is, I just don't think we'll ever get away from hands-on training. That's such a big component. We actually gave more hands-on training, gave the students availability to all the curriculum online. So whether they're at home, McDonald's, or wherever they're at, wherever they got Wi-Fi connection, they can start studying the content. Then they come into the college and they do all the hands-on assignments and have to prove that they can do what we need them to do one-on-one. Not a group thing. But it's just interesting. We're using technology to improve that aspect. Yeah. We're giving more training, and I want to say the same amount of time, and sometimes we give additional time just because the kids come in better prepared by the online content of the class to do all the hands-on skills.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part for us. Automating education the right way. It's important. Not shortcutting, but enhancing it.
Yeah, no doubt. Tori, funding is always a problem when it comes from the state level or the federal level. Do you foresee a time where these funds are going to be difficult to get, or is this something that is very much in favor with our legislators nowadays?
Well, that's actually a tough question. President Trump did have the MEP funding kind of on the chopping block a couple of months ago, but it did make it through the first round of cuts in his budget proposal. So we're kind of waiting to see what happens when he comes out with that final budget. We're still at risk of losing some of our funding, and we're just working with our leadership and our representatives to help them understand what great things the MAP does for manufacturing, not only in Ohio but across the country itself. And those funds are critical to make sure we can keep helping the manufacturers grow and increase their productivity. We want America to stay strong, and we need our manufacturing to stay strong.
Yeah, boy, I tell you, we sure do. That's where our future, I think, lies still at this point in time. No doubt about that. Well, guys, fall classes start again August 23rd at the college. If you'd like to have any more information, how's the easiest venue to be able to come up with either one of you, either Tori Wolf or Jim Dravis, if they want to get a hold of either one of you guys?
You know, for general college classes, you call 419-267-5511. You go on the website, you get it that way. Through Custom Training Solutions, you can call our office at 419-267, I believe it's 1332, is our admin's office. Or you can check the website and get through us through email as well. So either way, call the college, call our line direct, email us, look at the websites. And like I said, if you have an idea of any types out there of any type of training, that's why we're called Custom Training Solutions. We seldom deliver the same class twice. It's always tweaked for each customer.
That's fantastic. Well, guys, we really appreciate you being here. How fast did that hour go, Tori? Huh?
Not quite fast enough.
Well, you did a wonderful job, and folks, you do wonderful work every day. Keep it up, and thank you for all the things that you're doing for Northwest Ohio and all the manufacturers and the young folks that are out there. And welcome to come back anytime. How's that? Huh?
Thank you very much.
Well,
I'm happy to know
you.
you'll have me back.
We will bring you back, Tori, no doubt. That'll wrap it up here for this hour. And we actually have Mary Leatherman, I believe, from Elwood Staffing coming up. So you want to talk about jobs that are available? That's next here on The Q.
Oh, for the love.